Welcome back to the Old Bull and Young Calf Boston Sports Podcast, and we are taking you up to game time for a very important game. And I think, like everyone has been saying, the Star Wars reference, this is a trap. It's a trap. It's a very important game, though, because I think there's a momentum going on here. And I think this is what separates the good teams from the bad teams. And I think that's the best motto and way to look at these upcoming games because good teams beat the bad teams. This is the game you win. The Bills game, you don't want that to be we're hoping that wasn't any given Sunday. We're hoping that was us outplaying them like we can and will do. So this is a game we should win, right, Dad? I mean, what's your quick summary outlook of this game? Without getting into too many details, like how do you feel about this game? How do you feel after that win last week, and what you think that's going to mean to this game?
Look out, New Orleans, because here comes the road killers. They are coming to eat your soul. Patriots 2-0 on the road, or are they? Or are they coming to eat those souls? Because, like you said, Matt, I do not like this position. I was
Big
feeling
Jeff.
amazing after the Buffalo game, but think about it. They're coming off that huge win. The national media has been jocking the Patriots all week, pumping their tires. Drake May, now he could be a possible best quarterback in the league. I even heard at some point in the next couple of years. Stephon Diggs is back. Vrabel is like already coach of the year candidate. I'm hearing all these things. And here's another thing I haven't heard anyone come up with. Tennessee is next week. Vrabel's a human being. So has Vrabel even been 90% focusing on the Saints this week and 10% with his Tennessee game on the mind next week, his
That's really
former
true.
team?
Yeah.
So it's like this is the ultimate trap game. Saints are 1-4. They're not as bad as people think, though. Their quarterback Ratliff, 6 touchdowns, 1 interceptions. They got Camilla. They got a decent run game. They got game records at in their pass rush with Granderson and Jordan. Secondary's not great, very average against the run. Man, I am terrified of this game. If they lose this game, I agree with what everyone else is saying. It almost completely nullifies what they did in Buffalo last week, Matt. What do you think?
No, I totally agree. And that's it. Again, we don't want a team that gives us exciting games in October, right? We want a team that's going to show us that they can put together a full season and take care of business. And I think this is one of those games where on paper they should take care of business, but it is sneaky, right? The Saints are not a bad team, right? It seems like you said, the turnovers, they're really not beating themselves too much like we have beat ourselves this season. They are 1-4, but they faced some tough teams, right? They faced San Francisco, they faced Seattle, they faced Buffalo. All really tough teams. Those Seattle and Buffalo games were both in those houses. I'm really hoping that we can beat this Saints team because, like you said, Dad, last week really doesn't matter. If we lose this game, I don't
Yeah.
know. Last week was nice, but it's like we're towing the line of this crappy 8-9, 9-8 territory. It's like, no thanks. Let's pull away from these two losses. Let's start racking them up. I think Braves can want to destroy Tennessee and still focus on the Saints.
Sure.
I agree, Jeff. I think he deserves a lot of credit. And one of the things that I talked about last week before the Bills game was, at this point, this team will hopefully have the system in place, right? The groundwork. They're now 4 weeks in before last week. And we saw a really complete football team last week. It looked really good. Some dopey penalties for, unsportsmanlike conduct, but otherwise a really pretty squeaky clean team. So now that Vrabel's system is in place, I'm hoping it really starts to snowball here, right? Because he took that Tannehill team really far. So I'm hoping we can start doing something similar. These guys are professional. They will focus on the task at hand. This team will have its ups and downs. Did you have something about what Jeff said, Dad?
Yeah, and you know what? It looked like the Patriots were cleaning up the penalty situation last week. I don't think they had any in the first half, and then all of a sudden, that one drive, just they go back to being knuckleheads. It
Like
was
45
absolute
yards.
insanity.
Like 45
So
yards of
Jeff,
penalties.
I mean, I think you're right. Like Vrabel's a professional. I don't know though. He's still human. is his mind a little bit on Tennessee next week? I don't think he's necessarily going ahead and watching game film on Tennessee during the New Orleans Saints week, but is his mind a little bit over there? I hope not. And Jeff, these guys are professionals, but it happens in all leagues, right? It happens in hockey, basketball, even baseball. Like, you're coming off a big series in baseball against the Yankees, and you play a garbage team where, they're last in the league, and you just swept the Yankees, and then you lose 2 out of 3 against, Oakland Athletics, So it happens in all the sports, so I get that, but I don't know, Scott, we'll see. I just don't feel good about this game. I'm not saying the Patriots are gonna lose, but this shouldn't be a close game. Like, and Vegas is sneaky smart. They only have the Patriots at 3.5 point favorite. So I don't know. I feel like this is a game the Patriots should win by 2 touchdown, win handily. Let's see if it plays out that way. And then Matt, Scott Johnson, one more Patriots defense will shut down the Saints. I like their chances there. I mean, Hawkins being out, I don't know, Matt. How do you feel about that? Like our starting, strong safeties out. Doug is going to be in there, who's terrible in coverage, and Kamara is an elite receiving running back, so that's going to be a matchup sometimes. They have Johnson, who's a good tight end, and another tight end just came off of injured reserve. How are you feeling about that matchup, Matt?
No, it is going to be a tough matchup, especially with Kamara. Kamara always gives us fits, and we don't have Belichick, who does that great job of taking out their best players. So it's going to kind of remains to be seen with Vrabel. Can he keep that up? I think we did it pretty good last week with Shakir. Right, Shakir was kind of shut down. Keon Coleman was kind of shut down, and Cook didn't really do too much damage. So Vrabel's been good. We're hoping he can replicate that with this Saints team. Their best receiver, Olaev and Shaheed. That Shaheed guy had an 87-yard touchdown last week, and that was their first win. And it seemed like they won off of explosive plays, right? So having that safety out is a bit scary, right? We don't have Devin McCourty back there anymore, making sure there's no 87-yard touchdown passes like what happened to the Giants last week. So I'm hoping we can not bail them out. Let's make Rattler do those long drives, like young quarterback, just like people do with Drake May. Make him have success on the easy stuff 10 times in a row if they're going to score. The big plays are scary, especially with Kamara, who's electric, and our safety being out. I'm if we can limit those big plays and make every Saints drive be 10 plus plays, I think we're in really good shape, because I think May has proven, especially his last few games, that he's capable of doing that. So I take May over the Rattler in that scenario.
Jeff, yes, but the focus and professionalism is so much better this team. You're absolutely right, Jeff. I do have much more faith in that. It's no more Gerard Mayo, no more Belichick at the end, where he was basically old senile and just cashed it in. So my worries are probably a little unjust, but I'm hoping we'll see. We do a post game
Yeah.
and we'll see where we stand. But Matt, they also getting Taysom Hill back, and for those of you who forget who Taysom Hill is, he's the gadget guy, right? He's a guy who's quarterback, but he can run like a running back. He can even be a receiver. So look for some trickery out of the Saints as well in the dome. Not he hasn't played this year, so this going to be tough to scout that, see what they pull. That they're going to have something. You watch, they're going to pull something out of their butt, some type of trick play. And also keep an eye on this development. Milton Williams was added to the injury report right before the game time. He's sick, apparently. I don't know. He's got a fever or something like that. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But for them to put him on the report means he's probably going to be limited in snaps. And that's a big deal, because him and Barmore, even though it's not necessarily translating to paper, their sacks, but they've been really good getting pressure up the middle lately. So that's a bit of a concern.
Yep. I got to admit, despite record Rattlers doing well, he is doing well. I think he was super highly touted coming out of college too. And worry is good. Don't ever get complacent. And Jeff, the best way to quell the worry is win this game. This team, right? Like I get it. I think Scott Johnson mentioned it. We'll go back to Scott. These guys are professionals. They will focus on the task at hand. This team will have ups and downs. We need to have a long up here. I feel like this up needs to last 4 weeks. We won Carolina. We won the Saints. I'm sorry, we won Bills. We need to beat the Saints, and then we need to beat Tennessee. If we crap our pants after that, okay, those games happen. But these 4 games, I get us 4 weeks of consistency. I think that would be really good for the confidence from the fans it'll get people a lot more engaged. And I think my dad, I don't know, Dad, you talked about Hawkins being out, but I got like a little siren, right? Did you see who's in
Yep.
tonight?
Yes. Chisholm.
Our boy
Is that who you're
Chisholm is
talking
in.
about?
Chisholm is
Chisholm
in.
is in. That's interesting. In a dome, super shifty guy, kind of like, Edelman wannabe who flashed in the preseason. But we got to be careful of that because what happened when Trayvon Henderson flashed in the preseason and the old bull
Sure.
gave that an F? I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying I'm taking a victory lap on that yet, but he's been underwhelming. Okay. But Chisholm, I'm excited for that. I hope they give him a legit chance in the slot, even though Diggs has been really awesome in the slot lately. But I'm excited about that. I wouldn't imagine that they're going to activate him and not throw him out there a little bit. So we'll see how that goes.
I think one of the best parts about Chisholm, right, is difference between Travion and Chisholm is when you're the running back, you're the guy, right? And so in preseason, there's a lot of mismatches. There's a lot of guys who are going to end up working, 9 to 5 jobs shortly after that, right? Whereas the receiver, he was our best receiver in preseason. And everybody knew it, and they were putting their best guys on him. And now you're inserting him into a lineup where he's probably going to play against, the third, fourth best cover guy because Diggs, his trajectory is off the charts, right? And Henry goes out saying is I've been outstanding. Booty has really found a rhythm. So Chisholm, I feel like is going to have an easier time carving out a impact role in this offense. If he can understand the plays and the timing and everything of Josh McDaniel's offense, I think he's gonna have an easier time than Travion. Travion's it's tough because our line hasn't been great for run blocking. He has run into some, run into some tackles, which we definitely noticed, but it's going to be tough. Going to turn Henderson references into a drinking game. Yeah, Jeff, it's tough, man. As a Patriots fan, when you look at their last like 3 first round picks, we got Gonzalez, we got May, we got Campbell, nailing it, right? And you want Henderson to be more of an impact player because you want to keep that rhythm of really good draft picks. Last draft was really good. Jared Wilson had a great game. Was he? Wait, oh gosh, I hope he was left guard that game, right?
Guard.
Okay, good. I didn't know. I wasn't 100% sure he played left guard last game because it didn't look like him because the stunts and stuff that they were pulling that were really fooling that left side of the line early in the season didn't work well last game. I watched every Will Campbell snap, and of course that has to do with Jared Wilson. And they tried to throw a lot of those stunts at that left side, and they're looking really good. It's a good draft. Henderson needs to be better, and I think the biggest thing about Henderson, the biggest disappointment, is not his explosiveness, but his pass blocking has sucked. He hasn't been able to keep guys away from Drake May. He's getting run over, advertised as the best pass blocking running back in college
In
football.
years. In years. Yeah.
And
And so
I'll
let's
tell
we'll
you,
see. Hey, it's still
big L
young.
there. Glad to see Chisholm
Yeah.
in regular season. Good measuring stick for the hype. Yeah, and there's another guy we drafted, Kyle Williams, and there was a lot of hype around him. I don't know if he's dealing with like a Chad Ochocinco syndrome where he's struggling to understand the offense. I don't. Josh McDaniels does have a very elaborate offense, but I don't know. I
I
like
read a
him or
report that
yeah.
Matt, I'm glad you touched on him, guys. I did read a report. I don't have the all 22. But apparently he did get open deep a few times against Buffalo. May just didn't throw it his way. And because he's getting open, I guess it's allowing underneath stuff to get open. So look for them to be like, hey, listen, Drake, take a quick look here first before you go underneath. So you could start to see him pop a little bit. We'll see. And I'm wondering if the Chisholm, yeah, Big Jeff, I'm wondering if Chisholm being active is them wanting to get Diggs on the outside as the Z or X receiver a little more as opposed to a slot because Diggs has been playing a lot of slot, and I wonder if that the Chisholm being active today has something to do with that.
Yeah, and I'm
But
looking at it, and it looks like the Saints have 9 sacks this season, which is
yeah,
actually not too much. Last week we faced the Bills, and the Bills had 13 sacks. Oh, wait, no, 8 sacks
yeah,
that season. So these are. I know you mentioned they have a good pass rush. I don't know how that comes from like a time perspective or an
two
actual.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm excited for the offensive line. Listen, I understand we got to cut it. Will Campbell was awesome
yeah.
last week. Let's get some hype for the big time rookie left tackle who syncs up perfectly with Drake May. That might be one of the best
Does
draft picks we make after Drake May. I don't know how you feel about that, Dad, but can we give a tiny bit of praise before
I
we have to
feel
go?
great. I was worried about it, and I'm feeling much better about Campbell week after week. Again, he wasn't perfect last game, gave up a half a sack, and definitely gave up some pressures. But hey, that was a hostile environment, and the kid held his own. So I like it.
Yes. All right, guys. Go Patriots. We'll be back for the post game. I hope everybody has a good rest of their game. Let's go. Or he
Go
could be there to
Patriots.
block for the rock. Block for the rock. Hey, listen, I'm so excited for this game. Go Pats. I'll see you guys. Bye bye.
Go Pats. See you, Big
Thanks,
Jeff.
Big Jeff. Thanks, Jeff. Hanging out with Jeff. We got to get Jeff on. Jeff, if you want to get on for a pregame or postgame, you let me know.
We should. All right. All right, son.